Hi guys, welcome back to 10-minute reviews, where we review in 10 minutes or less. Generally we stick with authors and books, which is what I want to bring you guys today. Today I want to talk about Steve Perry, and I'm going to talk about his 97th Step. I'm going to touch on briefly some of his other books, but primarily I want to talk about the 97th Step because I'm going to talk about the rest of his books later on. Now, Stephen Perry, sci-fi. This is far future. I mean, the technology level is pretty crazy, although they try and stay somewhat grounded because they still use, regular guns and stuff like that. They're technologically advanced, but they're not, culture level God advanced, if that makes sense. So the 97th Step is actually a prequel to his main series. Now, Stephen Perry, sci-fi author, kind of along the lines of, say, like Mike Resnick. This guy, Steve Perry, is not going to make New York Times bestseller lists. He's not writing the next great American novel. He is just writing basically what I would call men's action, men's adventure, kind of in the vein of like I said, Mike Resnick, or your old men's pulp books, your Remo Williams and stuff like that. And they tend to be martial arts focused. So in his main series, he talks about the man who never misses, this mythical figure that brings down this empire. Well, this is the prequel. This is the prequel that introduces basically almost his mentor in a way, and it focuses on a character. It goes by a weird name, and Willie, I believe it is, and Willie, but he ends up calling himself Penn. And he goes by a number of different names, and he is part of this galactic gladiator kind of thing. They call it the Musashi Flex, and basically they go around and they battle each other, and they try and go up higher on the ladder, and sometimes they battle to the death, but not usually. Usually it's just battle to defeat. And this is basically a journeyman, a career warrior, floating. He's almost always, generally in the top 100, usually in the top 50, sometimes in the top 20. Very, very, very rarely cracks the top 10, which is kind of the goal. The goal is always to get up there, and he's good. He's a great martial artist, but he's kind of missing something. And this book really kind of focuses on his journey as he gets beaten by the top dog a couple times. He's kind of basically a prick, and how he starts to develop a new martial art. He ends up meeting this woman. She wants to learn how to defend herself. So as he's teaching her, she asks questions, just simple questions. And based on those questions, he starts thinking about how he could change his martial arts style and what he could do to fix it. Basically, he ends up devising this martial arts style that is movement based. You can dodge. You kind of change things by a step. You take a step instead of a block. Basically, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, because it's very movement based. Throw a punch, and instead of blocking it or dodging it, I just step. Just take a step. By just taking a step, it just naturally moves me out of the way and lines me up for, say, a new battle, a new way of fighting, basically. And sorry, I got something going on my phone there. And that's how this book progresses. Because in the later books it talks about this martial art that is almost unbeatable, and this is basically how he designs it. And it's called the 97th Step because he comes up with the first 96 movements of it, but cannot figure out. He feels there's something missing, but cannot figure out what it is until near the end. And this introduces other characters through this Musashi Flex. You got a rich guy that basically chemically cheats to just start jumping up the ladder in this gladiator arena kind of thing, or galactic gladiator combat tournament almost, except it's ongoing. And talks about the top guy and what a jerk he is, and Willie here, who's trying to design this martial art. He ends up he of course ends up beating the big bad, ends up being both the big bads, and figuring out what the missing step is, completes his martial art, and at that point decides to retire, and that kind of moves him into to the rest of the series. Now, you guys, you got to read this book if you like science fiction. If you like Mike Resnick, you got to read this book. I would recommend reading this book before you read the Man Who Never Missed trilogy, even though it doesn't really affect it any. It's just interesting. It's interesting and fun. And if you like martial arts books and adventure books, read the book. That's really all I can say to that. So, yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We'll catch you next time.